The next monotheism we're going to talk about is Christianity. Christianity originates with Jesus, who most historians agree was born in Judea around 6 AD and was crucified by a Roman Pontius Pilate in the 30s AD. Jesus taught peace and brotherhood, and Christians believe that one day he'll come back again from the dead. He's already been back once. That he'll come back again and create a new kingdom of heaven and earth. This is Peter, one of Jesus' disciples, and he's the person who founds the Christian church in Rome. And this is Constantine, a Roman emperor, who in the 300s AD makes Christianity the official religion of Rome, and which leads to Christianity becoming the dominant religion on earth. These are the Beatitudes I took right from Wikipedia. They are some of Jesus' most important teachings. And supposedly, right from his mouth, he says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." So it's good to be sad. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. So it's, again, good to be sad. The meek, they'll inherit the earth, so it's good to be weak. If you hunger and thirst for righteousness, you will be satisfied. And then people who are merciful will be shown mercy, so it's good to be merciful. It's good to be pure in heart, for you shall see God. Peacemakers are particularly good according to Jesus, those who try to make peace out of conflict. And if you're prosecuted for following Jesus, then yours is the kingdom of heaven. So everything will be good after you die. Other important teachings of Jesus, in particular, one of my favorites is Jesus tells people to love their enemies. Is to love your enemies. This is kind of a new concept. Most people find it really easy to love their friends and find it fairly normal to hate your enemies and kill them, and that happened a lot in the Old Testament. But Jesus says, no, in fact, we should love our enemies, which is a very hard moral standard to live up to, although many try. Here's the Roman Empire after Constantine. Notice this city here, Constantinople, modern-day Istanbul. That's where he moved his capital to, and it became the center of the Christian church in the East. And here's Rome, where Peter created the first Christian church, and this becomes the center for Catholic Christianity. And these two places duke it out throughout history to see who is going to have the final say in what Jesus said. And Rome generally has come out on top of that struggle with more power, although the church in the East under Constantinople becomes a dominant church in Greece and in Russia until the communists take over. Two more really important Christian philosophers are St. Augustine of Hippo over here and Thomas Aquinas over here. They have offer many new ideas to Christianity. The one that I'd like to focus on this year is the idea of a just war. Jesus teaches that you should love your neighbors, but we all know that many Christians have gone to war, and many wars have been fought over Christianity. So how is this possible? These guys came up with the idea that war can be just, and that in fact war is needed sometimes to protect people or to create peace. In order to have a just war, it needs to start for a just purpose. It needs to be fought by a proper authority, like a government, a state, and it needs to have as its goal ultimately peace. So all wars must be fought in pursuit of peace. And we're going to do some more activities with just war in class, and you'll get a more detailed description of that idea then. But this is definitely something to keep in mind for the future. This map here simply shows the power sharing that occurred not long after the death of Muhammad in Europe, North Africa, and Western Asia. You have the Catholics who control, Europe, Britain, and north of that, the Orthodox Christianity, which was once centered in Constantinople before that was conquered by the Muslims. And this is Russia and Greece and some of the places in between. And then Islam is going to dominate the Middle East and North Africa all the way over to India. The last two Christians we're going to talk about are Martin Luther here and John Calvin here. Both come from around Germany. Calvin's Swiss. These guys create some of the most bloody and long-standing conflicts in Christianity in Europe. Luther splits from the Catholic Church. It's not what he wanted. He had some particular grievances with the Catholic Church and believed that people could interpret the Bible for themselves, that sort of thing. And the church excommunicated him, and fortunately for Luther, he wasn't burned at the stake because he was protected by a German prince, and he was able to birth his own religion. It came to be called Lutheranism, and this caused many, many bloody conflicts. Not long after Luther, and a contemporary of Luther, alive at the same time, is John Calvin, who takes Luther's ideas, you could say, maybe a step further, and Calvin seeks to create perfect utopian Christian communities based on the teachings of Jesus and led by church elders. Calvin creates Calvinism, Presbyterianism. Huguenots are also Calvinist, as well as the Puritans who come over to America, led by Oliver Cromwell in England too, who we'll talk about. The conflicts created by these two splits from the Catholic Church are far-reaching and horrifically bloody. They are one of the reasons that Voltaire writes Candide, which you guys are also going to be reading here coming up. So when you read Candide and you hear about all these different Christian groups killing each other for their beliefs, remember it comes from Luther and Calvin. Here's a picture from the 30 Years' War, one of the most devastating wars of Christian religion between Luther and Calvin and their offspring churches in the Catholic Church. This completely destroys essentially all of Germany. Many towns are destroyed several times during this war. If you go to Germany, you can still see walls built up around towns for protection during this war. 30 Years' War is also the reason that Switzerland becomes neutral for pretty much every other international war to come. In 30 Years' War is 1618 to 1648. Most importantly, from Christianity, remember the teachings of Jesus, the Beatitudes and that idea to love your enemies. Remember the idea of a just war, which is still used to analyze whether conflicts are worth fighting today. And then remember Luther and Calvin and the bloody wars of religion that they create through Europe. Here are the sources for all of my pictures. I've used some Wikipedia and years of studying Christianity and the Bible. Thanks for listening.